For the previous generation Tundra, a lot of folks used it. They installed a goose ball in the back or a fifth wheel hitch, even though I know it wasn't necessarily targeting that type of towing application. But for the composite bed offering, or are you going to be offering any type of gooseneck or fifth wheel towing option for it?
Not from the OE side, that would be third party.
What's going on, guys? So we are out here at the Toyota Tundra Drive event in San Antonio, Texas. These are all Toyota Tundras, varying trim levels, varying models with varying engines. So all of them are going to have the iForce V6 twin turbo engine. The one I'm going to be driving in is this beauty right here, which has the iForce Max. It's actually a limited trim with the TRD package on it, and that's what kind of gets you some of the off-road features like the locking rear differential and several other things. So this will be my truck for about an hour-long drive to where we're going. It's a little north of San Antonio. If most of you aren't aware, San Antonio is actually where they produce the Toyota Tundra, and this thing is super cool. So you've probably seen my walk around of one of these on the channel before at the event in Dallas, but this will be the truck that I'll be driving. Panoramic sunroof, 13-inch display. Very cool. I'm gonna mount some cameras up and we're gonna hit the road. Okay, so the key fob is right here. This is what the new key fob looks like. Nothing too special there. Center console area. 13-inch display. Let's go ahead and hit the start button right here. See what happens. This is all one large LED display, as is that, of course. You have your rear view camera up here, which is actually a camera instead of the typical mirror. If I flip it down, it'll probably turn into a standard mirror, and then I can use that. Very cool. You have your HomeLink system right here. You have a very cool infotainment system, and what they've done with it, I think, is actually pretty game-changing in terms of how it works. Hey, Toyota, take me home.
I found 14400 Farm to Market Road 306. Would you like to go now?
Yes.
Calculating route to 14400 Farm to Market Road 306.
Very cool. Okay, so we are hitting the road. Got the next location, or our destination, loaded up on the 13-inch display here. You got a bunch of the current generation Tundras all lined up here as well on the left. And that's so you have the ability to hop into a previous generation truck and then this truck and, you know, be able to really compare the differences between the two. I gotta admit, I was kind of looking for a red truck, so. And they actually wanted every journalist to have their own vehicle to drive. So you can see all the different cab configurations. Up in front here, you can see their double cab. So that's really cool. There are a lot of trucks out here. There are a lot of journalists out here. So they're really giving you an opportunity to see what you like about the current generation and this next generation truck. And if I heard it correctly, the standard iForce engine, which is the slightly lower horsepower torque engine out of the two, is going to be available in December. And then I believe in February or March, the iForce Max equipped trucks will be available. Okay. You can see the truck in front of me here has the back window slid down. That is absolutely a cool feature that Toyota is very known for with the Tundra. And it's one that, you know, I've kind of always wished that, you know, other manufacturers would have picked up on by now, but just very, very cool feature. Going over some relatively rough roads. Handles them well. You can definitely feel that the suspension is tuned to a bit more of the firm side. Has a very nice ride, feels very good whenever you're cornering, but it is absolutely more on the firmer side of handling compared to some of the other trucks I've driven. That's cool. If you check out the turn signal of the truck in front of me, doing a lot of those interesting LED light movements that you're starting to see in a lot of vehicles. So the throttle is really, really dialed in. And I think that this is actually something they spoke about on the trucks that we viewed over at the Dallas show where they revealed it. And it feels very, very, like I said, very dialed and very fluid. Like there's no lag between pressing the pedal and the truck actually accelerating. Hear a little bit of the turbos. And then right here, yeah, it doesn't have a lot of body roll. They've done a good job controlling the ride on this truck. You know, the reality is all the manufacturers are making really nice trucks. And when it comes down to picking the truck you want, oftentimes it comes down to the little details, because again, all the trucks are pretty dang nice. You know, they've done a lot to make these trucks what people want and ultimately a desirable vehicle. So whenever you go out and you're looking at either a Toyota Tundra or a Ford F-150, a Chevy Silverado, a GMC, a Ram, keep in mind that these manufacturers are just constantly trying to think of ways to offer you something that's better than the competition. They understand there's brand loyalty out there, and a lot of people will only buy one brand of truck because that's what they trust, that's what they've owned, that's what their father owned, their grandfather owned. But in many ways, the manufacturers are trying to convince you to look at their truck, even if you've been loyal to a specific brand. You know, Toyota, for instance, setting up shop down here in San Antonio. They build the engines in Alabama, I believe, or Georgia, and the truck itself is assembled in southern San Antonio. You know, that's a testament to the fact that they want people looking at Toyotas to know that they're getting a US manufactured truck. And that's key. You know, if you look at any vehicle on earth, I don't care what brand it is, it's using globally sourced components. But to take it the next step further and in many ways set up shop in a country like the US, which is more expensive to operate in than a lot of other countries, you know, again, is more of a testament to how they want to appeal to US consumers that want to buy products that are made here in America. And this vehicle will be sold in North America. I don't believe this will be a European or a vehicle that will be sold in Asia, according to the spokesperson that was talking this morning. The power on this truck is pretty dang amazing. I mean, it's interesting how they've given you that sound on the inside like you're driving a V8, because the engine very much sounds like it's a V8 from the inside. So they're doing a lot of that noise tuning and baffling and things that they do to the inside to make it sound a bit bigger than it might actually be. But I'll tell you what though, the power of the truck just really pairs well to that sound, because kind of like when you drive a Ford Raptor, you may be getting a V6 twin turbo, but they do a good job of making you believe from the inside that you're in something more powerful. Well, that's exactly what you get here. This just has the sound and the feel of something much larger than the V6 twin turbo that's in this truck. Even though the perks of the power plant they've chosen to go with would probably outweigh actually having a V8. A lot of people like a V8 because they think, you know, that old term, there's no replacement for displacement. You know, that basically saying you can't make an engine like this as powerful as a V8. And I think over the past 5 or 6 years, manufacturers have actually demonstrated that you can make a smaller engine more powerful than even some of the larger engines. And the horsepower and torque numbers, if that's what you're looking for, a truck here is going to deliver on the numbers if you can get past the displacement. And I think most people can. It takes someone who is absolutely dedicated into only getting a V8 to only consider a V8, if that makes sense. But yeah, the truck drives really nice. It's nice and smooth. I would venture to say that it's not the smoothest driving half-ton truck out there. It is probably on par with an F-150, but I still think the Ram drives a bit smoother. And You know, like I said, it's just more around that firmness. This truck has a bit of a firmer suspension to it, and you can tell. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that the truck feels firmer. Now, on the same note, this truck also feels a bit more planted. So occasionally, and I've mentioned this when I do the Ram half-ton video reviews, is that the Ram sometimes feels as if it's swaying or wandering a little bit more than you'd like it to when you're maneuvering on the road. This truck just feels a bit more planted. It feels a bit more stable, if that makes sense. And that can probably help you when you're towing because you want that stability. And some of the things they talked about with this truck is designing the sway bar and doing different things to the truck to give you a more stable ride, considering they've switched from leaf sprung rear springs to coil springs. So, you know, it's kind of a trade-off, but they've done a good job. It rides really smooth. It actually does. And I've been in several previous generation Tundras. I actually owned a previous generation Tundra, and I can absolutely say that the ride on this is, you know, I'd probably say 30–40% smoother, which is pretty significant. I can honestly tell you, if you're looking at the Tundra and you're considering this type of truck, you would probably be very pleased with what they've done. Now, there are people who will solely base a truck's evolution on what it looks like from the outside. And whether or not you like the look of this truck from the outside, you know, what they've done is absolutely a huge step forward from the previous model. So it's not as if you can say, you know what, because I don't like the styling of the truck or because it's not what I thought they would do, that the whole truck package is bad. This truck package is actually pretty phenomenal. They've put an incredibly powerful set of power plants available in these trucks. They've put the industry's largest navigation infotainment screen with arguably the most advanced technology baked into it. They have all the features that you're looking for on higher trim trucks. If you're going to compare this to, say, a Denali or a High Country or a King Ranch, again, styling aside, styling is all subjective. That's all personal. Somebody may absolutely hate the way something looks, whereas somebody may absolutely love the way something looks. I think this truck looks really good. I do. In person, you absolutely can see the direction they were trying to go with that whole, you know, kind of chiseled, connected feel to it. Everything kind of plugs into the right spot. The interior of this truck feels very upscale. It does not feel like you're getting into a previous generation truck, or it does not feel like you're getting into a truck that can't compete against the leaders from the other manufacturers. And I will honestly tell you, from like a luxurious perspective, the interior of this truck, though it feels a bit more modern and edgy, it absolutely rivals who I believe has been the segment leader for the last couple of years, and that's Ram, in terms of overall layout, fit and finish, quality, what things look like, where things are, that ergonomic look. It absolutely competes head-to-head against Ram, and I can say they've done a great job there. Accelerating in this truck is very fluid, and I like that, right? You hit the throttle, it instantly starts to move, and that's what you look for. You want a truck that doesn't have much of a hesitation. Now, it is a big truck, so just keep in mind, it's not going to be like a Corvette, or it's not going to be like a Supra. It's not going to just take off and go. There's a lot of power, and it puts it down quickly, but at the same time, you have to understand that it's designed to be a truck, right? And it's designed to have the type of torque, capability, acceleration that you're looking for in a truck versus a sports car. Anyways, guys, we're going to be on the road for another about 40 minutes, I believe, to get to where we're going, and we'll talk about the truck a little bit more when we get there. Okay, so we are getting really close to our destination now. You can see we're in the hillier area of Texas. At least this is what's referred to as hill country, out near Canyon Lake. And to be honest with you, the truck drives really nice. You know, I'm not going to say it's groundbreaking. It's groundbreaking for Toyota in the sense that it's such a departure from the previous generation or the previous version of the Tundra. But when you compare it to other trucks, I'm going to say it's a little better in some ways, but then in some other ways it feels a little bit more, again, leaning towards the firm side, which I've reiterated multiple times throughout this video, because I want you guys to absolutely be aware of that. Now, I like it so far. And, you know, a comment that I would probably say is, if you were a buddy of mine and you said, hey, can I borrow your truck so I can go pick something up, and I toss the keys to you, you're going to drive it. You'll probably be more focused on all of the new interior changes and things that they've done here, and you're not going to just be, you know, in awe of the ride. The ride is great, don't get me wrong, but it's not so groundbreakingly different than most of the other trucks you may have driven, at least the newer trucks, that you're gonna, you know, instantly go, wow, this thing rides so much better than that truck or this truck. The ride is pretty much on par with what the other manufacturers are doing, just accounting for, again, that different feel that I keep bringing up. You know, the truck drives and handles well when maneuvering through traffic, when accelerating, when decelerating. The brakes feel a bit touchy. It doesn't take much for the truck to want to slow down, which is not a bad thing. You just need to get used to it, of course. The accelerator feels really good. The previous event where they talked about how they redesigned the gas pedal and they redesigned, you know, how it actually moves and the feeling you get from throttle response and all that stuff. Yeah, you can definitely feel that. That's a big departure from the previous generation. But, you know, the truck is absolutely a big leap forward for Toyota in terms of the Tundra. They've done a lot of really great things. Will it be enough to keep up with, you know, the other domestic manufacturers? It's a hard one to say. You know, Ford, Ram, GM, they've done great things to their trucks. There are some clear advantages here, which is great. But then at the same time, though, everyone's making a good truck now. So, you know, it's going to be really interesting to see how sales do on this truck, considering that. Anyways, we are arriving at the preserve at Canyon Lake. Very cool area. I only live about 3 hours from here, so it's an area that we frequent quite often. Never actually been here, though, so this is going to be new for me. But look forward to seeing what they have in store. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, now's a great time to subscribe to my channel. If you kind of want that everyman's perspective of this new 2022 Tundra, hopefully delivered in a bit of a different way. But again, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.